Hello, dear students. My name is Bankeswar Panigrahi. So today we are going to discuss about TCP services. That means Transmission Control Protocol services. So how the transmission control process protocol works in our OSI model, and what are the different steps are there in TCP services, and what type of service it provides while communication is going on between the two devices or two hosts. That all are we are going to discuss in our today's topic. Okay, so one by one we will go through the notes. Let's go. So first is Transmission Control Protocol services. So the Transmission Control Protocol is the most common transport layer protocol, because we have already studied the OSI model. In OSI model, the TCP or the Transmission Control Protocol is working in transport layer to transport the messages or the different type of processes from one layer to another layer, and it also works with the IP protocol also. That means the internet protocol. Here the Transmission Control Protocol controls the transmission of a message from one layer to another layer or from one host to another host, and the internet protocol is giving the control while the client server environment is going to communicate, or the relationship between the client and server is established. So that's why the Transmission Control Protocol and the internet protocol both are working together in the transport layer. Okay. So the next point is given here, that it works together with IP and provides a reliable transport service between processes using the network layer service provided by the IP protocol. So the various services provided by the TCP, to the application layer are as follows. That means we are going to discuss one by one. First one is process to process communication. That means here the process to process communication means the transfer of some data or some messages or exchanging some information between one process to another process, which is executing in a source location and also a destination location. That is called as the process to process communication. That means the data and the informations will be transferred between the two processes that are executing on a single system or in a multiple systems. That means in a source system as well as destination system. So the processes or the informations transmits or exchanges between the two processes by using their port addresses or their port numbers. Okay, so the port number is basically 16-bit long, that is helpful to identify which process is sending or receiving data on a host. Okay, so this is the process to process communication. That means process to process communication means to transfer messages between the two processes while they are executing in one system or in two systems that are located in source location as well as destination location. And the processes message transfer is done by using their port address or port numbers. Okay, this is given here that process to process TCP provides process to process communication, that is the transfer of data takes place between individual processes executing on end systems. This is done using port numbers or port addresses. So port numbers are 16-bit long, that helps to identify which process is sending or receiving data on a host. Okay. So next is stream oriented. Okay. So what do you mean by the stream oriented? That means the informations are grouped together to form a packet, and that packets are known as the streams of data. Streams of data means grouped together data. Data are grouped together to form a stream, or the data bytes are grouped together to form a stream. Okay, so this means that the data is sent and received as a stream of bytes. Okay. However, the network layer that provides service for the TCP sends packets, as I have told you in the transport layer. They are responsible for, the TCP is responsible for to transmit the packets of data or informations from one location to another location. It is the duty of TCP protocol. Okay, that's why it is given here that the network layer that provides service for the TCP sends packets of information, not streams of bytes. Hence, TCP groups a number of bytes together into a segment and adds a header to each of these segments, and then delivers these segments to the network layer. Okay, at the network layer, each of these segments are encapsulated in an IP packet for transmission. The TCP header has information that is required for control purpose, which will be discussed along with the segment structure. Okay, that means the TCP will group the number of bytes of information together into a segment, that is called a segment, and it puts a header address to the segment, and then it will deliver it to the network layer. And at the network layer, the segments are encapsulated, that means they are grouped together. Each and every segments are grouped together, the number of segments are grouped together in an IP packet, that means Internet Protocol packet for transmission. Okay, so the TCP header has the information that is required for control purpose. That means in which place we are going to transfer the stream, that is given the address into the TCP header path. That's why it is required for control purpose, which will be discussed in our next TCP segment structure. Okay. So this is the process of transferring the stream of bytes. Okay. This is the sending process and the right side is the receiving process. So the sending process will transfer some streams by using the TCP protocol and by the help of a communication channel to the receiving process, as well as the here also the TCP protocol works here. Okay. So next is sending and receiving the buffers. So because the sending and the receiving processes may not write or read the data at the same speed, that means in which order from the sending process the data are delivered, in that order, if the receiving process is not going to receive, then there will be a collision will be detected and some data will be lost there. That's why we are using the sending and receiving buffers. Okay, so that is given here that because the sending and the receiving processes may not write or read the data at the same speed, TCP needs buffers for storage. That means whatever the data is going to send, it will first store into a buffer space. After that, it will be transferred and then it will go to the receiving side buffer storage and it will buffers, then it will receive by the receiver. Okay. So there are two buffers, the sending buffer and the receiving buffer, one for each direction, and these buffers are also necessary for flow and error control mechanisms. As I have told you, if the sending rate and the receiving rate is not going to match, then there will be a collision detection occurred and it causes the data loss. Okay. So one way to implement a buffer is to use a circular array of 1 byte locations as shown in the following figure. So here it is given that this is a sending buffer and this is a receiving buffer. So here this is not sent and here it is not read. Okay. So here in the receiving buffer, what the data will be came from the sending buffer, it will first stores into the buffer storage. After that, it will goes to the receiving process. Okay. So this is the transmission control process. Here also, before going to send, the sending process will transfer the byte streams into the sending buffer. After that, it will transfer by using a communication channel to the receiving buffer area. After the message will reach at the receiving buffer area. Then from the buffer area, it will transmit the message to the receiving process. So this is the working process of sending and receiving buffers. Okay. So here it is given the explanation of the diagram. At the sending side, the buffer has 3 types of chambers. The white section contains empty chambers that can be filled by the sending process. The gray area holds bytes that have been sent but not yet acknowledged. So TCP keeps these bytes in the buffer until it receives an acknowledgement. So the colored area contains bytes to be sent by the sending TCP. However, TCP may be able to send only part of this colored section. This could be due to the slowness of the receiving process or perhaps to congestion in the network. Also note that after the bytes in the gray chambers are acknowledged, the chambers are recycled and available for use by the sending process. This is why we show a circular buffer. Okay. So at the receiving side, the operation of the buffer at the receiver side is simpler. The circular buffer is divided into 2 areas shown as white and colored. So the white area contains empty chambers to be filled by bytes received from the network, and the colored sections contain received bytes that can be read by the receiving processes. When a byte is read by the receiving process, the chamber is recycled and added to the pool of empty chambers. So next is full duplex service. So what do you mean by full duplex mode? We have discussed also about the full duplex mode in our data transmission modes. So full duplex mode means both devices can be communicate with each other in a simultaneous manner, or simultaneously both the devices can communicate with each other. Okay. This means that the communication can take place in both directions at the same time. Okay. That means it is a bidirectional communication in a simultaneous manner. Next is, it is a connection oriented service. So as like UDP and TCP provides connection oriented services, it defines three different phases, that is connection establishment, data transfer and connection termination. That means before going to transfer some data, we will first establish a connection in between the sending device and the receiving device. After the connection is established, the data what will be transferred, they are going to transfer between the two devices. After all the transmission is over, then we will again disconnect the connection. Okay, that is known as the connection termination, data transfer and the connection establishment. Okay, so next is given here reliability. So TCP is reliable as it uses checksum for error detection, attempts to recover lost or corrupted packets by retransmission, acknowledgement policy and timers. That means here the checksums are used for the error detection. That means how the sequence is prepared from the sender side and what are the sequence numbers are provided to the frame, and in that sequence they are transferred to the receiving side or not. It will check by the checksum, and if in the order what they are transferred from the sending side they are not receiving in the receiver side, then it will be cause an error, and the error is again recovered by retransmitting the number of packets or number of frames those are not transferred from the sending location to receiving location. Okay, so it uses features like byte number, sequence number as I have told you, and acknowledgement number so as to ensure reliability. Also it uses congestion control mechanism. Okay, so next one is multiplexing. So what is multiplexing and what is demultiplexing? Sending and receiver, sender and receiver ends respectively as a number of logical connections can be established between port numbers over a physical connection. That means multiplexing means it uses a device called as multiplexer which has the capacity of receiving one signal, and it will separate the signal into multiple signals and then it will transmit towards the receiver end. That means here it is one to many relationship. That means it receives one signal and it separates that signal into number of signals and then it will transmit it to the receiver side. Same at the receiver side, the multiple signals are received by the another device that is called the demultiplexer, which is capable of combining the multiple signals what comes from the multiplexer side, and then it will unite them together and gives to the receiver as a single message. So these are the two types of transmitting processes, One is called as the multiplexing and second one is called as the demultiplexing. Okay. So next service is byte number, sequence number and acknowledgement number. So all the data bytes that are to be transmitted are numbered and the beginning of this numbering is arbitrary. Sequence numbers are given to the segments so as to resemble the bytes at the receiver, and even if they arrive in a different order. Sequence number of a segment is the byte number of the first byte that is being sent. Acknowledgement number is required since TCP provides full duplex service. Okay. I am going to tell you that the byte numbers are required to form the streams by the transmission control protocol, and the sequence numbers are used for giving a numbering to the number of packets and or number of streams or number of frames are going to be transferred from one location to another location, and the acknowledgement number suggests that when the bidirectional communication is going on, if sender is sending some messages, then always receiver gives a response to the sender that whatever the message is sent by the sender, that is received by the receiver or not. Okay, that is called the acknowledgement number. If it gives the positive acknowledgement to the sender side, then the sender will sure that whatever the message will be sent by the sender, it will successfully reach to the receiver end. If the receiver end gives a negative acknowledgement number, then the sender will sure that whatever I am sending towards the receiver side, that message is not successfully reached to the receiver end, and it checks again the checksums. After that, it will again transfer the frames towards the receiver side. Okay. So this is the diagrammatic representation. So in this example, we will see that the system A and system B are present. A sends acknowledgement number 1001, which means that it has received data bytes till byte number 1000 and expects to receive 1001 in next. Hence B next sends data bytes starting from 1001. Since B has received data bytes till byte number 13001 after the first data transfer from A to B. Okay. Therefore, B sends acknowledgement number 13002, the byte number that it expects to receive from A next. Okay. So, this is all about the TCP services. Okay. So, in our next topic, we are going to discuss about the TCP segments. To more elaborately, we are going to discuss in our next class about the TCP segments and how the TCP segment is divided into multiple sections. Okay, what are the sections are there and what are its uses? We are going to discuss in our in our coming classes about the TCP segments. Okay, so today we have discussed about the TCP services. I hope you understand this session. Thank you.